Greek island of Kos, 66 refugees were rescued by Italy's Coast Guard. These refugees are said to be from Syria and Pakistan. Greece says the number of refugees on its soil could triple next month, reaching as many as 70,000. Athens blames this on Balkan countries restricting border crossings into Western Europe. Hundreds of refugees protested at a camp on the Greece-Macedonia border. They blocked a railroad track demanding the border be opened. The group is consisting mostly of Syrians and Iraqis, and they've been stuck at this camp for days now. They're trying to travel to the Balkan area, to wealthier parts of Europe. For more on the Syrian crisis now, I'm joined by Kamran Bokhari, a fellow at George Washington University's program on extremism. He's joining us from Toronto. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks for having me.
Kamran, despite some violations here and there that we've been reporting, are those living in Syria right now safe?
I don't think so, because this is so fragile. And I was just reading a report a few minutes ago from Al Jazeera saying that Russian planes have struck at Ahrar al-Sham's positions. Mind you, Ahrar al-Sham is the largest rebel group by numbers, and it is allied with the Nusra Front. So, I mean, if these attacks are taking place, then, and we don't know the geography of the continued airstrikes, then, it's difficult to see how people are going to be safe. Some areas may be safer than others, but overall, they're still in harm's way.
So Russia says this ceasefire has been breached about 9 times over the past 24 hours. And at the top of our broadcast, we had video showing one of these bombings, the aftermath, but they actually couldn't identify the warplanes on the ground. How do you continue on with this ceasefire and actually maintain in the area without knowing actually which faction is responsible?
Well, it can happen, but it would require the following. First is that there would be an understanding that nobody will declare an end to the ceasefire. None of the major forces on the ground or the international players will declare that from this moment forward there is no more ceasefire and it's back to business as usual. The other thing is that they also agree that while formally they're not going to declare an end to the ceasefire, yet they continue to fight with each other and say, okay, we'll fight, but we won't declare an end to the ceasefire. So that's the kind of situation in which this thing can go on for some time, until such a time where both sides say, you know what, this ceasefire isn't working, and we're declaring it null and void.
The Syrian Kurds have partnered with the U.S. in fighting against ISIL, as you know, but now Russia has offered them space in Moscow. Are the Kurds becoming very political?
They are very key because I think that the Kurds have created for themselves space in the sense that they work with the Russians very closely. And of course, they're allied to the United States because they're part of the US-backed Syria Democratic Front, which is the only alliance of fighters that has actually taken away territory from ISIS. So I think that the Syrian Kurds have very skillfully positioned themselves in such a way that they have become a key stakeholder. Now that's not good for Turkey, but I think that from the point of view of the Syrian Kurds, they think they're in a very comfortable position.
Kamran, quickly, as you know, you probably saw the video that we just showed of all of these refugees there on the Greece-Macedonia border, but you still have 500,000 people that we were talking about living in Syria. How do you get aid to the people who are still there?
I mean, the only way to get aid is, determine which areas are safe to go in. In other words, are those areas controlled by, say, the Kurds or groups that are affiliated with Turkey or the Saudis or the Qataris? And then the supply routes matter, above everything else. Is there a secure supply route running either through Jordan into the southern parts of Syria or from Turkey into the northern parts? and how long is the window of opportunity to provide humanitarian relief, because everything is tied to the ceasefire. And so I think that there is an effort to quickly do as much humanitarian relief work as is possible before the ceasefire collapses.
Good point. Kamran Bokhari, thank you so much, joining us live from Toronto.